Hello my beautiful fashionistas, welcome back to Yvonne Winifred. This is the fabric that we are working with today. I have the front folded in 2-2 and the back is also folded in 2-2. The back is the piece that is down, this one, and the front is on top. So the back has 1 inch larger than the front. That 1 inch is the zipper allowance. So starting off with my lines, from the top I marked 1/2 inch and I drew a line there, which is the starting line or the shoulder line. From the shoulder line I went down 10 inches for the bust line and continued to the length of this first part of this blouse, which is 16 inches. That is the full length plus the joining allowance. So now along this shoulder line I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement, which is 7.5, but I'm adding 1/2 inch because I'll be adding sleeves. At that point I'm going down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. Now from that 1 inch I'm going down by the half of the armhole measurement. In this case it is 8 inches, and marking this gives us a chest line. So the chest line and the bust line are two different lines. So from there I'm going to mark this same 8 inches that we have above at the shoulder line. I'm marking it again along this chest line because those two lines are parallel. So I'm going to mark these 2 points to carve out the armhole later. So now I can go ahead and mark the 3 inches for the neckline width, and from that 3 inches I'm connecting to this 1 inch like this, and that is the shoulder slant. And after there I'm just going to add 1/2 inch simply like this for the shoulder allowance. So moving on guys, I'm marking the neckline depth at 4.5 inches for the front, and for the back I just want to use 2 inches. So opting for a curved neckline simply like this. So all this that we are cutting, it is just the first piece that we are going to join with the 720-degree flare. So along this bust line I'm going to get the bust span or the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches, and divide it by 2. I get 4, and I add 1/2 inch as the sewing allowance since I'm marking directly onto the fabric. So I'm marking 4.5 inches along the bust line and along the waist line. Then connect those 2 points like this, and along the waistline I'm marking 1/2 inch on either sides, and then connect back into the bust line. And when cutting I'll just cut along these dart legs that I've created now, but not the middle line. So moving on along this line I'm going to get its midpoint, which is at 4 inches, and connect to form the princess dart. So it is a curve, that is why I'm using a curved ruler, but if you use your free hand also make it a little bit curved. So from the 4 inches I'm connecting into the dart, and there we formed the princess dart. But guys, I'm going to extend this line outwards by 1 inch for the princess dart, simply like this. Extend it by 1 inch so that we form the new curve for the armhole. So to form the new armhole curve, first I'm going to divide the bust measurement by 4, which is 38 inches. You get 9.5, then plus 1 inch for sewing up the dart, and also the 2 inches, which is the side seam allowance or the sewing allowance. I'm using 2 inches because I will be adding lining. So I'm now connecting from the 1 inch we extended outwards into the marking, or where the bust measurement has stopped, simply like this. So I'm doing the same also along the waistline. Marking waist measurement of 34 inches divided by 4, I get 8.5. So I'm marking 8.5 first, like this. Then I add 1 inch for this dart that we marked, that we took in, and also 1 inch for sewing that dart up, and also the 2 inches as the side seam allowance. Then connect those 2 points, and our shape for this blouse for the first top piece is already formed. So now I cut out the back neckline first and the sides simply like this, then also along the shoulder, remember that allowance. Then the darts, just as I said before, we are cutting along the dart legs like this. So now I'm going to pick 2 side pieces, just 2 for the front and 1 middle piece for the front, and these are for the back. So to finish up with the front, we have to cut out this neckline like this after separating it from the back. So I have to label everything so that I do not misplace them. So these are my front pieces, and I'm going to put them aside. But before, this is how the front will be looking like. So I'm going to put them aside and work onto the back. So these are my back pieces. There are 2 side back pieces and 1 middle one that we are going to cut into 2. So along the waistline, I've marked just half an inch from the center back, and I'm connecting from the waistline going upwards to where the neckline depth starts from, and I'm cutting that off to eliminate the zipper bulge at the back. And now these are the pieces that I have. Also, I have to label them so that I know which is which when I'm sewing. So now guys, all these pieces, I have a black cotton lining that I'm going to duplicate all these pieces onto this lining to cut out all my lining pieces. So now for the 720-degree flare, we have to get the measurements first. So the waist measurement we are working with is 34 inches, and the length of this flare is 8 inches. So now for the 720-degree flare, we need 2 circles. Each full circle is a 360-degree. So when you get 2 circles, they give you the 720-degree flare. So now guys, remember our waistline is 34 inches. So now at this point, our 720-degree flare that we are working with is the 34 inches, which is the waistline. So if we need 2 circles, we are going to divide by 2 to get 17 inches. So there is a constant 6.28 that we use to form a full circle. So we are going to get 17 inches dividing it by 6.28. Whatever we get, guys, is what we are going to use to cut out our flare. But all this that we get, we need 2 of it. So 17 divided by 6.28, I get about 2.7. So you can round that off, but I think it's best not to round off, because when I rounded it off, I got too many, like the number it was just exaggerated. So here I'm writing 3.8, but it is supposed to be 3.7. Sorry about that. I just added 1 inch for the side seam allowance, and I rounded off my 3.7 to 4 inches. So the 4 is what we are going to use, plus the length of 8 inches to cut out this new piece or the flare. So we have 8, which is the length of the flare, plus the 4 inches that we got after calculating, and also you can add the hemming allowance of about 1 inch or half an inch. So your piece unfold along the width should be 13 inches unfold, and after even the length should be about 26. That is the length you have on fold times 2. So you fold like this, just the way you've seen me folding, and from the apex up here, just the way we fold a full circle. Don't fold the way we fold a half circle, just fold the way we fold a full circle, just as you see me doing. So from the apex, I'm going to mark, this is supposed to be 3.7 that we rounded off to 4, which I regret doing. So I'm going to mark that measurement. In this case I was marking 4, but I ended up changing it, as you will be seeing later, guys. So now I'm creating the waistline by marking 4 inches from the apex going down. Now that is the waistline. So now from that waistline I'm marking the 8 inches, which is the length of the flare, but I'm adding 1 inch, so I'm marking 9 inches like this for the flare, the length of the flare. So this is the piece. I'm connecting those markings to form the piece. So from here you can go up by half an inch as the joining allowance, but before cutting, guys, you have to cross check whether what you have here times 4 gives you the 17 inches that we are using as the waistline. If it doesn't, or if it has some excess, that is good. If it doesn't, you go up or you go down. So in this case I cut out, and this is what I have. So it is a full circle, but we need 2. Remember, we need 2 full circles to form our 720-degree flare. So I'm cutting it at just one side, and I'm going to use this to cut out the second one. So for the 720-degree flare, we just divide our waist measurement by 2, and whatever we get, we divide it by 6.28, a constant we use for the full circle. So that is how our flare will look like, and we need 2 of these. And we will also cut in the lining pieces. So that is the cutting part of this tutorial. I'll be seeing you soon in the sewing part. It's the video that is coming next, or else I'll also link it in the description box below. Thank you.